And we're live. And we are live. Let's make sure volume and everything is good. All right. Week 4 is in the books, and we are opening week 5. Hello. One all, come all. Enter any questions. Come all. Was that technical difficulty? Let me double check that we're connected again. All right, looks like we're connected again. Sorry about that moment of technical difficulty. All right, week 4 headed into week 5. Hope y'all did well. Hope and wish you the best for week 5. And today we will be doing some start sit. And we got one question right now. Should you start Bourne? I'm assuming Kendrick Bourne over Jamison Williams. Oh man. Oh man. We are going there. I think let me look at the matchup. But from what I have, it's possible that Detroit, gets off to a good start and runs for a lot of the game. So Jameson is kind of like either hit early, or he may be limited on opportunities, because the Bengals probably going to be struggling to keep up. So I would see the Lions ahead in that game. Bourne, unproven, I guess, consistency wise, but the offense is looking good. So I think I can see how you're being burned by Jamison Williams, that the idea would be to start Bourne. I mean, there's nobody really in the SF offense, but I would rather have some of the other options in this game, just because I think the Rams defense is going to be able to hold down SF, and I think the best shot is Demarcus Robinson out of that backfield. So I don't know if you have options to pivot, or if it has to be Bourne. That's so tough, man. I think I would still go Jameson. I think I'd still go Jamison Williams, but that's a tough one. If I were to take a shot, like I said, in this field, I would take it probably on Demarcus Robinson. But if that person's taken, it's I mean, you're praying for a touchdown for both, right? But I'm not sure if that was helpful or not. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, man. Let me know if there's any other thoughts or questions for your situation, and anybody feel free to drop any more questions in the chat. I think Slayton. I think that's. Let me check the matchup. I was gonna stay. I still think Jameson, but let me check who they're playing. The Saints. I like Slayton more than Bourne. I'll say that much. Jameson versus Slayton. Oh man, that's a tough one too. That is a good one. Where my head's kind of going is, I think Giants and Saints could be a little more competitive. I know I don't think the over under is that high in that game, so I think it's a little riskier. for lack of points going around, because even though I'm projecting Detroit to be ahead, if they decide to just run it like Chicago and, not put on the brakes, I think there's more points to be scored there than the Giants. Um, but I like Slayton better than Bourne in that. So I would say Jameson, Slayton, then Bourne for me in that order. Um, Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know any other thoughts or questions. Feel free anybody to drop in in the chat any questions for this weekend. Tonight I'm gonna be highlighting the Rams defense. Uh, I have I have them. I think with the injuries that are in San Francisco right now, I think there are some opportunities for the Rams defense to to keep up. We'll see if my projection is correct or not. You're awesome. Awesome to you too. And so we'll see if the Rams defense can do well tonight. Earlier this week on Monday, I had some thoughts for this week's, trade or waiver wire, however you want to call it, for the week. And I know the waivers have already run, but to kind of follow up on some things that have happened, since then, because the waivers have already run. If some of these players are on your waiver still, maybe check them out. Mentioned how Spears coming back soon. Brenton Strange in a need for a tight end can be a good option. Jackson Dart was good, so somebody probably picked Jackson Dart and Romeo Doubs up, but can still check and see in your league. And then I have Brandon Ayuk on here. We see how injured San Francisco is, and I know they say Ayuk is still far away, but he did perform year over year before his injury. So I think when he comes back, he will definitely get some usage. Probably not, Christian McCaffrey being basically a running back and a wide receiver anymore. They'll probably take off some of his workload and try to spread the ball out a little bit more for the duration of the season. So I see when Ayuk's back, some good usage if you have a spot in your bench to stash. Last time we talked, everybody was looking at Trey Benson, but if you have not seen it or you have, he is out on IR for at least 4 weeks, and I think there was minor surgery involved, arthroscopics, if I'm remembering correctly. But so with those 4 weeks out, you know that change that changes things on that Arizona back end, for whatever D's they could have. But pretty much everything else, I believe, from there, I would still keep the same in terms of, uh, you know, maybe potentially looking at Chris Godwin or Caleb Williams, and then writing the values of the people that went high but potentially may not have a long have uncertain futures, right? Cam Scattaboo he's looking like he's gonna run that backfield, but if Tracy comes back, what happens? Xavier Worthy, when Rashee Rice comes back, what happens? DeAndre Swift, even though he's been doing extremely well, it looks like they're starting to work Monungai into things. So that's just something careful to note too. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., if you're a believer, keep him. But if you're not, this is your time to move him off of the performance from last week. And so let's see. I think to wrap up last week's predictions, because some people played, Justin Fields ended up playing well, so ended up being a hit for the quarterbacks. In the wide receivers, T. Higgins ended up not performing well. So that was that was a hit. I said Jalen Waddle would do well, but he did not do well, and he's on my spotlight this week because of the whole Tyreek incident, injury, right? Season-ending injury. So um, we'll see in this upcoming week what that means, for him if he can live up to what he's done in the past when Tyreek has been out, which is perform between wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 value all year long. In the running back section, Breece Hall performed pretty well. So that was a hit, and that kind of wrapped up all of last week's predictions on who to start, who to sit, based on the questions we had, and just some key players I thought would be highly asked about. And so moving into this week, we got, let's see some discussion points for this week on looking at stock of some players in the upcoming future. So starting with quarterback, Patrick Mahomes this week. I think everybody, all the professionals, are projecting him to be one of the top quarterbacks this week. But not only that, on a whole week over week usage, he's been performing extremely well. Over 20 points in 3 of the 4 games, outperforming his projections on every week except one. And with more players coming back, Xavier Worthy, then Rashee Rice, as these players come back, he will have more weapons, and I think he will be pretty good the rest of season. Hold on one sec. All right, and so if you have him, I think he'll be a reliable player for your team. If not, maybe people could look at targeting him. But Patrick Mahomes is somebody who's been rushing this year, probably not desired for the length of the year to be rushing as much as he is right now. But even if they can cut his rushing in half, but then get it through the air or ground through Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and maybe they do something about the running back situation. I think he'll have a balanced play in a good year. Moving on to the tight end position, Hunter Henry just seems to be getting constant usage with the Patriots week over week. I know he's had some up and downs, but overall on the year, he's doing very well, except for one game, so 3 out of 4, which for a tight end, that's all you can really ask for, right? Is more consistency than not in that position, because that position is very, 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 very slim pickings. So I think Hunter Henry in a pinch could be used moving forward. If you haven't been getting good results from your drafts like Evan Ingram, Njoku, those guys, I think it's okay to move off and into Henry. In terms of wide receivers, I think Mr. Quentin Johnston from the Chargers has been the biggest surprise of this fantasy year, performing as a wide receiver 1 when he was not even drafted in most leagues. So I think you keep riding the wave with him. His stock just seems to be solidified as the best receiver in Chargers. You can debate whether or not if McConkey is more skilled or Keenan or whatever, but just in terms of his usage, in terms of the value of the targets that Quentin Johnson is getting, how Herbert is looking for him in high value situations like for touchdown potential or deep plays. He's to me the number 1 receiver in that offense. So I would play him without question. Put user in a timeout. No spam in this chat room. And for the running back position, I have RJ Harvey on the upward trend after the monster game on Monday Night Football, scoring 17.8 half PPR points. And he is on an upward trend. So every week compared to his projections, he started off in a really bad negative game script. Everybody thought he was basically, going to be splitting the backfield or leading it. And it seemed he was only getting the passing work in the beginning. But then week by week, he's just been performing better and better to the projections. So I wouldn't say you necessarily must start him at this point, but I would really just watch his stock for this week just to see if they keep upping that usage. Sean Payton, being a guy who's been able to do two running backs of high fantasy value. So I kind of see it like potentially being like Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, when Mark Ingram, being more of the J.K. Dobbins type, and then Kamara being the, RG Harvey being the Kamara type. I could see some interesting usage like that over the year. So that's everybody on who I would consider on the stock up watch to be watching as their stock continues to go up and up over time, just to continue either watching them, using them, or just seeing how they do. In terms of stock down, so players to just be aware of, I guess. You don't necessarily have to give up on these players or not start them, but here it's just some important things to note, right? And so we'll start at Justin Herbert. And I know I was just high on Quentin, right, from the Chargers, but I think two things can be true at the same time. I think Quentin and some of these and the wide receivers could still have some good value, but I think they could still pull back a little bit on the passing amount because he was throwing the ball so much, you know, and they ended up losing last week. And Hampton was performing extremely well. And so it's not saying you bench Justin Herbert, but right now I think he's projected for 20 points, and I would just caution that to say, like, look, if you're going to play Herbert, those projections, I would be a little cautious on how solid that is, to see if maybe they dial back a little bit of the passing game and put a little bit of that volume into the running game instead. In terms of the tight ends, this is my tight end, Juwan Johnson, right now. Wow. He was performing well at the beginning. He mysteriously came up on the injury report uh, after the game this last week, and he's limited right now in practice. But I would just watch this to make sure that he's either full participant or they don't foresee any limitations, because um you know if he's limited in all the practices, maybe they move that ball around because the target share has already started to disperse a little bit there. So let's watch his injury and practice reports this week. Wide receiver, now this is going to be an interesting debate, right? Because Jerry Jeudy is having Dylan Gabriel come in as quarterback with Joe Flacco, basically being benched to second string quarterback. And the other moving piece in this equation is Cedric Tillman went to IR. So those targets are now going to have to be dispersed to the rest of the team. Now, why my stock is still down on Jerry Jeudy is because he's week over week underperformed versus his projections. And even without Cedric Tillman, there's still a good amount of mouths to feed in the offense. And Jerry Judy seems to be a volume guy who, needs it all the volume in order to perform well. And um, you know, I'm not saying I would necessarily drop Jerry Judy, but I might wait for I mean, if you have to drop him, you have to drop him, right? But if uh if I could wait for the proof that he's gonna get the targets or how Dylan Gabriel looks before starting him, I would wait. That's where the stock down means on this, where I would prefer to sit him if I could. And they're traveling to London uh, to play against the Vikings, who you know can have a good defense. The Vikings, right? So uh, I would want to sit him. And in terms of running back, I think most importantly, the Titans offense seems to be one of the worst in the league overall. So I wouldn't want to chase points on that offense. And in addition to that, over time, Spears is going to come back, get used more and more. So I just don't see Tony Pollard's value week over week as time goes on to really be worth it and worth keeping. So that's who I would also move off of. And I think that's everybody I have prepared for this game. Put waiver wire back up and see if there's any start sit questions I can roll through. One moment while I pull up projections. All right, let's see. So I think what's interesting is, oh man, let me stop this spam real quick. All right, so I think Jared Goff, even though they're projected to win, um, I don't know, he just hasn't put up numbers, and the team is still able to put up points. So even though he's playing the Bengals, I don't know about that one. Um, Jackson Dart might be a fun little start against New Orleans. But that game total I think is projected to be low, so not sure about that. Trevor Lawrence is not. I I would not play him. I would not play those wide receivers. I think the only person there is ETN. Um, I think let's see in terms of running backs, who's the big questions? I think hold on, we still got 10 minutes. Let me see. Let me see. Um, why can't I find these? Aha, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Drop any questions you got in the chat. Drop any questions while I try to find some debatable things. Here we go. All right. Here we go. So on the edge for the running backs, would we be starting Jordan Mason against Cleveland or Chuba Hubbard against Miami? Questionable. Oh, that brings up a good point. I should have put him here on the waiver wire. Is Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle was getting great usage, even as the backup running back. Just getting 10 rushes a game. And Chuba Hubbard is now injured. So some of that workload is going to start heading to Rico, and depending on Chuba's health, if he's not healthy, he's going to be a pretty good start, Rico Dowdle, because he's been performing well with the touches he has had. So that's somebody that if you have an empty spot, might be worth picking up, just with the situation that's going on with Chuba. Everybody picked up Woody Marks. Question is probably, do you start him this week? And I think you can. Definitely think you can. Obviously, it just depends on the depth of who you're playing in front of him. Like, I would not be playing him instead of like a Travis Etienne or a J.K. Dobbins, but in front of Tony Pollard, yeah, I would do that. Instead of the New England running backs, probably instead of Chase Brown. I might do that. David Montgomery. That one's iffy. So he's in that range for me. Let's see. What about wide receivers in terms of who's on the fringe on if we should or should not start the wide receiver for week 5? Where is it? I think. Where did that go? I just had the running backs. All right, here it is. Okay. So let's see. Around that turn, I think some reasonable questions. Especially with that number 1 wide receiver position. So for guys who had like Brian Thomas Jr. and AJ Brown, right? There's probably a desire to sit those guys, and it's like, who could you put in that place? And I do think that it is okay to sit both AJ Brown or Brian Thomas Jr. if the right people are being debated, right? So guys like Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Debo Samuel, Zay Flowers, I think it's all reasonable that if you're debating between them, that could be a potential sit this week. AJ Brown's playing Denver, and he might be shadowed by Surtain. We don't know. But regardless, Denver's defense is pretty solid, right? So I just, with their performances, I know that might be a question, is it okay to sit Brian Thomas Jr. or AJ Brown. And that's about the range of players that I would see them in. I think let's see. I think Lad McConkey is okay to sit for a similar range of players. Um, Someone just asked about Jameson Williams. Se- Seemed like a decent start compared to the other players he was looking at, but I think that's a debatable range um, to not play unless you're in a 3 wide receiver league. Then they're probably all starts. Um, I think who else? T. Higgins, questionable sit. Like we may like somebody like Stephon Diggs, you know, um, seems to be picking things up, so he might be more worth playing. You know, the I know Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, you know, I think I would play those guys over them. Um, I'm pretty much trying to sit Jerry Judy if I can. Um, Trying to sit uh who else? Calvin Ridley if I can, Devontae Smith if I can, Jordan Addison if I can. Um, Chris Godwin, he's a risky start, but he might be an interesting play. Just kind of depends on what you need. Um, yeah, I think that's everybody in that range. Tight ends, let's see. Tight ends. Um, I think I think if you guys paid up for Darren Waller, you're probably starting him, just trying to ride those touchdowns. I would sit both Cleveland tight ends, Harold Fannin and Dave Njoku. I would sit Dalton Schultz. I think Kincaid, and Goddard and Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz, all potential touchdowns, but volatile play. Um, I don't like TJ Hawkinson. Um, Brenton Strange is a maybe. Um, Sam Laporta is a maybe. Um, but I think even Tongas tonight, as funny as it seems, with San Francisco, might be a better play than some of those other guys. But got the game coming up, so let's switch over to that coverage. Switch over to game coverage. So let me know if you have any start sit questions tonight. The Rams and 49ers coming to play. And we shall see if SF stands a chance or not. Hopefully, it's competitive football. Hopefully. And so, again, I got the Rams defense going tonight. So, since they're about to kick off, let's update that. Got the Rams defense. And Puka Nakua is the number 1 wide receiver right now, playing out of his mind, playing quite good football. And he's doing it without touchdowns too, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right. So this is this one update. update that. Let's put this up. All right. So kickoff has begun. Kickoff has begun. All right. So here we go. San Francisco received the kick. All right, we're on the 28. SF takes the snap, gives it to McCaffrey, gets about 4. So even though McCaffrey is only averaging 3.3 yards per carry, and the benchmark for running backs is typically at least 4, right? Means he's not running well, but because he's getting so much volume, he's still like a top running back in the league. So they hand it off to McCaffrey. Now it's a passing play, and now they pass to McCaffrey, and he gets like 20 yards. So funny. This man is their whole offense right now. So uh, 2 plays. First, hand it off to McCaffrey, then dump it off to McCaffrey. Um, so two plays, both of them to McCaffrey. They got a first down and more. They're at about midfield now. Um, just shy of midfield, 1st and 10. Oh, somebody went early. Probably a false start. All right, false start. So today, Brock Purdy is out, so Mac Jones is starting. Um, you got both Pearsall and Jennings as out. So they are now running out Kendrick Bourne and Marcus Robinson as the receivers. Tongus as their tight end because Kittle's out. Handoff to pass over the middle to McCaffrey again. And he gets about 15 yards. This is why they give it to McCaffrey every play, is because every time he touches the ball, he turns it into positive yards, and not just like 1 or 2 positive yards, a lot of yards, especially in the receiving game. He's on pace with the top 5 receivers for the amount of receptions. So he's basically getting the most touches as a running back and almost as many touches as the most wide receivers in the league. That's how much usage he's getting. He's basically playing enough to play 2 star players. It's crazy. All right. Get a drink real quick. Wearing my Rams jersey or shirt. Todd Gurley, back in the day, won me a fantasy championship. Oh, man. All right. 1st and 20. 1st and 20. They're about at midfield. Took the snap. Drop back. Hands off. Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne with like a 40-yard pass. My boy Ant. Oh man, there goes a big play. There goes a big play. Mac Jones, 3 for 3, 65 yards. in the red zone. In the red zone, handed off to McCaffrey, gain of about like 3. So, second down, 2nd and 7. All right, 2nd and 7. Fake to McCaffrey, pass up the middle. That's Tongas, the tight end. It's 3rd down. They're short by about a yard or 2. So we got San Francisco knocking on the door of a touchdown. They got 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1, and they're on the 9-yard line. Guy in motion. They go back, hand it off to McCaffrey, and he gets the 1st down. Gets the 1st down. So it's 1st and goal. First and goal with McCaffrey. All right, 1st and goal. Pass up the middle. Easy money touchdown. Touchdown. We got Mac Jones and Tongas. Oh man. We just called it that Tongas could get a touchdown. There it is already. There it is already. Mac Jones and Tongas for the touchdown. All right. So the Rams just got spanked on the first drive of the play. They just got scored on. SF made it look easy. SF made it look so easy. Oh man. And I am already down to 8 points. 4. For the defense. So the Rams defense already got scored on the entire length of the field. Dang. Eight points for them now. Oh man, oh man. I guess SF's system is just that good, you know. Even without all their starters, Ricky Pearsall's out, George Kittle's out, Jennings is out, and they're still able to run the Rams, the defense. All right. And so on the Rams side of the ball, they will have Stafford under quarterback. Got Kyron as the running back. Blake Corum starting to get a good amount of usage, so that's something to keep an eye on. in terms of the LA Rams backfield split. And then you got Puka Nakua getting so many receptions, so many looks every game. Number one wide receiver. And Devontae Adams, who's I think scored a touchdown in pretty much every single game. So we shall see what the Rams can do on this drive. So they got fielded. They're out past the 30. So here comes the Rams. Here comes the Rams. We got all right. Here we go. 7-0. San Francisco's in the lead. We got the Rams on the 33-yard line, guy in motion, handoff to Williams up the middle, gain of about 4. So first play, run play, kind of run up the middle. Last game, Stafford did really well, so we'll see if he can keep riding that momentum. Stafford's under center, guy in motion. Oh, he stumbles a bit. Recovers, passes off, gets it about 4 maybe with Puka Nakua. So Puka with his first catch had what, like 175 yards last week. It was crazy. It looked like he was about to get 200 yards last week. Feel free to drop anything in the chat. Any questions, any thoughts, anything to talk about. 3rd and 1. Kyron runs it up the middle. Looks like he gets the first down. So he should get the first down, and the Rams will march it down the field. Oh, hey, Bob. All right, let's see. Myers, Sutton, or Ibuka PPR. Thanks. Next week, drop Ertz for Pitts. Thanks. Let's see. If I understand you right, yes, I think it's okay to drop Ertz for Pitts next week because once he's off of his bye, Pitts has been getting pretty good usage. He's looked good. And in terms of the receivers, how many do you get to play? Because if you get to play two, I would pick Ibuka and Sutton. Not sure who if it's one or two. If it's only one, I think I gotta check Ibuka's matchup, but Sutton's playing against Philly, so I'm leaning towards Ibuka. But let me look at. I forgot Tampa Bay's this week. They're playing the Seahawks. Yeah, I think I would go with Ibuka if it's one. You're playing Adams. Oh, okay, you're playing Adams right now. Um, yeah, I think I would lean Ibuka if because I'm pretty sure Sutton's playing Philadelphia, and I just have a little more reservations on that game. But if you feel that Sutton is safer just because he's been getting more targets and receptions, I don't think it's way off between Ibuka and Sutton. But I just slightly would edge Ibuka, but it's close. So if you're projected close, I think it's okay to do Sutton. I hope that helped. But if since you're playing Adams, root for a touchdown for you. Root for a touchdown for you, Bob. All right. Okay. Put these guys in a timeout. All right. So the Rams have to punt 4th and 14. Stagnant offense on that one. So let's see what SF can do here. All right, so it's down at about the 10-yard line. 49ers are taking off. Hey, thanks, Bob. Appreciate the sub. I'll see you Sunday morning if you want, before the games. So appreciate your questions. Let me know if you think of anything else. All right, so Rams stalled out right there. San Francisco's defense has been interesting to me. Hard to tell. It's kind of hard to tell. Um, so we'll see if the Rams can do something on defense this time to get the game close. We can't have SF getting off to a huge lead from this beginning now. That would be too much, too much. I think hopefully George Kittle comes back next week. I've been missing him. Got what, 1/4 of play from him, caught a touchdown, and unfortunately got injured. So hopefully he can come back. This is interesting. SF got here 3-1 with where they're at. Up against the Rams, 7-0. I know it's the beginning of the game, but with the amount of injuries they've had, it's hard to think that they would have, this good of a record and a chance. It's like not only is their offensive players decimated, maybe some of their defense too. So it's been interesting how they've been able to be 3-1 and even competitive in this game. Hey, Delta Blue. All right. Hey, do I prefer Sutton and Corum or Chase and Chubb? Oh, that's a great question. I would assume you mean Jamar Chase and Nick Chubb. Um, and then Cortland Sutton, Blake Corum. You know, I think it depends on the makeup of the rest of your roster. And I know this is a loaded answer to this question, but I think, if the rest of your team is solid, right? And you're throwing this receiver in as a like flex or wide receiver too, I think I would prefer Jamar Chase. But if you're anchoring your team off of the wide receiver, I think I would prefer Sutton, right? And in terms of the running backs, I don't see Nick Chubb maintaining value rest of season. Blake Corum, I feel like, I don't think you're going to be able to get to play him unless Kyron gets hurt. But he's going to be, I think he's going to be, somewhat used, but not. I don't think it's going to get to 50-50, right? Or any type of split where you get, confident amount of touches from Corum. So it kind of, it's for your flex. Okay, so if it's for my flex, then I think I would prefer Chase for the ceiling. You drafted, who's Tay? Yeah, you don't really care about the running backs, to be honest. You have a lot of handcuffs like Tootin and Algier. My starting running backs are good. Then yeah, if it's like if you already have your other wide receivers that you're for sure rolling out week after week, I think Chase has a higher ceiling, right? In the flex, and that would be, what I would do if everything else is solid. Now, if everything else plus Sutton is the stability to get to that threshold, because every league and every week has its like rough threshold of like where you need to be in order to win every week, right? Like, every league's different because it depends on if it's 10 team or 12 team or just how people drafted. But like, let's say that you need to get like 115 points, to have a shot at winning more weeks than not, right? And you are barely getting there with uh Sutton, then I could see you keeping Sutton, right? But if you're like able to compete and the flex can be variable, then I would put Chase. It really that's what I meant by it depends on the rest of the makeup of your team versus what your league is built up as, right? Because if you need to be able to swing for the fences and then score a higher ceiling in order to even think about winning the championship, right? Um, then I would do Chase. Um, you're hoping the Bengals go for another quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of different things that could happen, right? But I think I think a lot of people are hoping that they shop around like you said and try to get somebody because Jamar Chase needs to be happy, right? um, Otherwise, it just won't look good for the coach or that staff. So I know I went back and forth there a little bit, but I think based on what you told me, like you said, the running backs are basically out of that equation. They're almost just kind of thrown in there. And then it just depends on like if you need the stability and you're able to win your league with that stability, then I would keep Sutton, right? Like I said, if 115 points or whatever was the number and you can hit that and be competitive against the best teams, then I would for sure take Sutton, right? But if you need that ceiling, like one team, one or two or three teams, like are scoring 130 and you're only scoring 115, and you're gonna need that 130 to be competitive in playoffs, then I would go Chase. Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully that was helpful, and of course, any insight I'm down to provide. Let me know if you come up with anything else or have any other questions. But I appreciate you, Delta Blue. Um, all right, so back at the game, looks like San Francisco's at about midfield right now. Um, you like the stream? Thank you, thank you so much. I appreciate you liking it and supporting. All right, so we got 2nd and 1, about the 40-yard line. They're across midfield, guy in motion, handoff. 2nd and 1 doesn't look like they get anywhere. Does not look like they get anywhere. So it'll be 3rd down and 1. Um, and we got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter. We got 3rd and 1. The Rams could use a stop here. San Francisco scored on their first drive. The Rams didn't get very far. San Francisco marching it back down. Guy in motion. Fake the handoff. Going deep. Nobody home. Incomplete. 4th down. 4th and 1. 4th and 1. SF will probably go for it here, right? They're in that like no man's land or whatever they call it, where a kick would, only get you 20 yards. So they're gonna go for it. 4th and 1. So here we go. It's a huge play here. Man in motion. Mac Jones calling timeout. Calling timeout. His team was not in sync for what they wanted or needing. So 4th and 1, timeout. So we got we got a pretty good division here, don't we? Um And it's kind of crazy that, even even um, you know, the loser of this will be 3-2. Um, so it's pretty tough. All right, so we got 4th and 1. 4th and 1 on about the 40-yard line. Guy in motion. Oh, handoff. Looks like they got the first down. Pretty sure they got the first down. Pretty sure they got the first down. All right. So we got 1st and 10. Oh man, oh man. 1st and 10. Here we go. McCaffrey in motion. Handoff. Handoff again. Pitch back. Pass to McCaffrey. He got a nice little block, maybe a gain of about 8. All right. 2nd and 2, handoff. Robinson getting about 3 yards. So 1st and 10. We've got one more play maybe in this quarter. 1st and 10. Drop any questions in the chat. 1st and 10. We got San Francisco up 7-0, marching on the red zone door. 26-yard line. Dropping back. Throwing for the end zone. And he's got it, but I don't think he was in bounds. That was Demarcus Robinson. That was Demarcus Robinson. 2nd and 10. Oh man, that was a good call. It was just slightly too far out. He just needed a couple more feet. Couple more feet. So here we go. 2nd and 10. Guy in motion. Handoff. Nowhere to go. It's like about 1 or 2. Take us to the end of the first quarter. All right, we'll be 3rd down when we get back. It'll be 3rd down. Let's see. All right. 3rd down. 3rd down when we get back. SF seems to be controlling this game, even though they're not at home and they're missing half their team. Playing very well in that first quarter. They are playing very well in that first quarter, and the Rams could clean things up a bit on both sides of the ball. It looks like. So we shall see when they get back. Let's see what happens when they get back. Predict 3rd down. They'll probably like 3rd and 8, so they'll have to try to go for the first, but they might be a little conservative since they are up a touchdown right now. They might just kind of go for the secure, maybe like a handoff delay to try to get close to a 1st down and kick a field goal. Or I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong. That's why they're the play callers, right? But I don't think they're going to take a shot for the the end zone in a position like this. Um, but who knows? Who knows? All right. All right. Wow. They got Kendrick Lamar's Peekaboo for background. The background song to that commercial. That was crazy. That was crazy. All right. So, what's the predictions for the rest of this season? We were talking about last week the Rams potentially being playoff contenders, but they're not looking like it right now. The SF is looking more like a playoff contender right now, even without half their team. So it'll be interesting to see when they get their full team back what they can do. Um, all right, here we go. Here we go. Picking up the second quarter. So right now, SF had 139 yards in the first quarter, and the Rams only had 7. That's not good. All right, so 3rd and 9 for SF. Here we go, dropping back, playing for the. Oh, Demarcus Robinson got the first down. 1st and goal. Oh man, Mac Jones looking like a pro out here, like in sync with the receivers, yo. All right, here we go. 6-yard line, 1st and goal. Toss to Christian McCaffrey. Looks like he's going to get in. Oh, he's just short. 1 yard short. Christian McCaffrey, 1 yard short. 2nd and goal. Man, the Rams are getting run on right now. 2nd and goal. Mac Jones calling the play. Dropping back to a shotgun. And they got it to McCaffrey for a receiving touchdown. Boom. Oh man. Oh man. Mac Jones to Christian McCaffrey. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's crazy. They're up 14-0. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Dang. Well, this is not looking good for playing the Rams defense. It's looking like a grave miscalculation on my part. Oh man. They're down to 4 points already. Jeez. All right, gotta upload this because this is not good. 4 points. 4 points. All right, 4 points. 4 points. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So, Rams defense already got scored on twice and already has like 200 yards against them. So, that's a tough start. That is a tough start. All right. We'll see what happens on this next drive, and that'll be good. We'll keep this going for one more drive, and then be on all day Sunday. All day Sunday. So, drop any last minute questions. This will be the last drive, unless we get some questions and some more people in activity, but we got SF kicking off. All right. The Rams get it back to about the 30. So we got 1st and 10 for the Rams on the 31. So let's see if they can respond. They're down 14-0. Quick pass to Puka. Gets about 5. 2nd down. All right, 2nd and 5. 2nd and 5. Here we go. 2nd and 5. Fake the handoff, drop back, dump off. Oh, throw is wide off the hand of Kyron Williams. 3rd and 5. Oh, it was batted at the line of scrimmage. It was batted down. So 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5. See if the Rams can answer. Got Kyron in motion. All right, back to Nakua. Up to about midfield. 1st down. 1st down. Drop any questions in the chat. Got this last drive going for the Rams. Hopefully they can score. Hopefully they can score. So Nakua brings them up to about midfield. And we got 1st and 10. Handoff. They got about maybe 2. Kyron Williams got maybe what, like 2 yards ish? Let's see. Let's see what we do here for the Rams. 2nd and 8. Got Puka in motion. Hand off. He got about maybe 5. So we'll see where they're at. It's 3rd down. 3rd and maybe 2 or 3rd and 3-ish. 3rd and 2. It's 3rd and 2. All right. 3rd and 2. We got shotgun formation. Taking snap, handoff, and he's short. 4th down. Niners got there. Niners got home. So 4th down. They're going to go for it on 4th and 1. Fourth and 1 for San Francisco. Handoff. He's got it. He's got the 1st down. Kyron Williams got the 1st down. 1st down. All right. Got a 1st down for the Rams. 1st and 10. Getting close to the red zone here. Closer and closer. On about 38-yard line. Hand off to Blake Corum up the middle. He's got a 1st down. Got about 12 yards. Blake Corum. All right. Okay. All right. So 1st down, 24-yard line. Guy in motion. Pitch back. Oh, it was a fumble. Ball is loose. And San Francisco's got the football. Wow. Fumble. Fumble. Wow. Oh man, he pitched it back and Corum was not even looking at the ball. Oh man. All right. Well, that that was not good. That was not good. That was not good. Ah, well. That's tough. That's tough to swallow. Make it all the way down to the red zone, then turn it over. That was like the Jets on Monday. Took it all the way down to like the 2-yard line, and Braden Allen fumbled it. So Rams just fumble it. I don't. So does that go off of? Does that fumble go to Stafford or Corum? I guess that would technically be Stafford because Corum never had possession of it, or I don't know. I think that's how it is, right? Uh-oh. Let me know any last questions. Any last questions? Excited for this upcoming week. This Sunday. All my team is on bye. I forget how many bench spots we have, but if there's like 5 bench spots, like literally every single person is on bye for me. Crazy. I almost did not have enough spots to to fill every position. I was thinking about it. I was like, do I just not play defense? And if with how this game started, it's almost like SF might make my defense go negative. It would have been a better idea. Man. All right. Can't believe they just turned that over. All right. Let's see. 1st and 10 for the Niners. Guy in motion. Handoff. Gain of about 1. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. Dropping back to pass. Throw up the middle. It's caught. Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne catching the football. Dang, Mac Jones just dishing it. All right. Almost at midfield. It's pitch to McCaffrey. Gain of about 2. Oh man, McCaffrey already has 9 rushes for 26 yards. So see, he's only getting like 3 yards per rush. Just massive volume. All right, 2nd and 8. Tonga's in motion. Shotgun. Handoff. McCaffrey another 2 or 3 yards. Be like 3rd down and 5 or something like that. All right. 3rd and 5. Let's see what this turns out to be. 3rd and 5 on across midfield on like the 49-yard line. Shotgun takes the snap, looking up, pass. Oh, off the hands. 4th and 5. Damn, Mac Jones is looking real good. Oh man, right off his hands. All right, punt is off. Fair catch. All right, let me use the bathroom real quick. Mac Jones is going off. Indeed. He's looking like a professional out there. He's looking like he should be the starting quarterback. Oh my goodness. He's he's dishing it today. I thought the Rams defense would hold him off more than this, but he's doing good. He's doing good. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. All right. Back from the bathroom. Back. Let's see. All right, we got the Rams taking the field. Fifteen-yard line. Snap is off. Flag is down. Flag is down. False start. All right. Here we go. Stafford dropping back, firing up the middle. Incomplete for Devontae Adams. No flag. He's looking around like he should have got a flag. All right. 10-yard line, 2nd and 15. Dropping back. Firing. Hit Adams this time. Just a couple yards short of the first down. 3rd down. 3rd down. Third down and 4. Third down and 4. Empty backfield in the shotgun. Snap is off. 3rd and 4. Looking around, finding Puka. Ooh, he might have been just short, but there's a flag as well. Devontae Adams is shaking his head like there was illegal contact or something on the defense. Maybe a hold. Holding on the defense. Automatic first down. All right. So Adams being held a bit. All right, here we go. Dropping back again. Stafford going deep. Oh, taking a shot for Nakua way deep. But he was covered. Pass was a little long, but that's how it's got to be. Gotta give your receiver a chance. Damn. All right, 2nd and 10. Stafford dropping back, passing over the middle to Kyron Williams. 3rd down. A gain of about 5, maybe. So 3rd down. 3rd down and 4. 3rd down and 4. All right. 14-0. SF still up. See what Stafford and them could do. Empty backfield. Takes the snap. Goes up. Finds his man. Terrence Ferguson catching the football for a 1st down. That was a whew. Dang. What a catch. That was well defended. That was very well defended. That was just a really good catch. All right, past midfield now. Play action. Finds his man. All right, here they come. Here come the Rams. Damn, Stafford just dealing that. All right, man in motion. Finding his man again. Ooh, almost a 1st down. Maybe short by about a yard. It's very close. Very close. Oh, man. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. 5 seconds on the play clock. Snap is off. Drops back. Finds Williams walking into the end zone. My goodness. My goodness. He walked that one in. What a play. Stafford the Kyron. What a play. What a play. Matthew Stafford to Kyron. Bam. Damn, they got them. The blitz came. He found the open man and he just walked into the end zone. All right. All right, 14-7. 14-7. Okay, so let's see what they can do in the last minutes of this half. Just cover the first half of this game today. Be back Sunday all day. Gonna cover the morning game too, the London game, because I got running backs on each side of the ball that game. Unless Bucky Irving magically comes back, but he did not practice at all this week, so I do not think he's playing. All right. So 14-7. LA has some life after scoring that touchdown. 49ers have 14 points. All right. Here we go. Here we go. San Francisco's last drive. One play right above the 2-minute warning. But let's see. Let us see what SF can do. Hopefully, we can get a defensive play here and get some defensive points on the board since it's been a clinic by Mac Jones and Christian McCaffrey and the Niners. So we got 1st and 10 on the 33. Empty backfield, pass slightly deflected, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. So this will be the last drive. All right. Let us see. Do. All right. Make sure you set your lineups. Make sure you know who's playing in your early window games, the London games, because that is early. That is early. Make sure your players on bye are out. And make sure your questionable people are in your flex. Questionable late window players. That way you could change it last minute if anything goes on. All right. So this will be the last drive. Let's see. What do we want? Of course we would want a pick six. That would be great. But SF is looking good. SF is looking good. Strip sack. Strip sack for a fumble six. That could be nice too. Just any defensive play. Any defensive play would be nice. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Last drive of the half. Here we go. 2nd and 10. Tonga's Devotion. McCaffrey in the backfield. Fake the handoff. Looking deep. Find somebody's in the middle for about 11 yards. And you're born. Man. They got Daniel Jones. Not Daniel Jones. Mac Jones. Almost 200 yards in the half. All right. Here he goes. Under center. McCaffrey. Moving out. Oh, they said it was no good. Ball was popped loose, but they said there was no catch. Oof. Dang. Injured Ram. Injured Ram. We got 1 minute left in the half. Might probably be the last drive of the half. We'll see. Hopefully this guy's okay and not too injured. Hopefully he is okay. All right. We got Mac Jones pretending like he's the #1 quarterback in the league right now. Throwing for like 200 yards in the first half. 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's crazy. Making the Rams defense look like Swiss cheese. So we got one more drive. Hopefully they can stop them. Hopefully the Rams can stop them. All right. All right. M&Ms. M&Ms. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Last one. Last drive. Last drive. Here we go. 2nd and 10. From the 45-yard line. Shotgun formation. Here we go. Handoff, McCaffrey. There's a flag out. It's probably going to be a false start or illegal shift or something. Yeah, illegal formation. 3rd down. 3rd down. 3rd down. 3rd down and 10. 3rd down and 10. In motion. SF is taking a timeout. Everybody's shifting on that line of scrimmage. All right. Let's see what the last. This is the last defensive play. All right, 3rd and 10. Third and 10. This guy in motion. Shotgun formation. Takes the snap. Pass. Finds his man. Gets his first down. Got one timeout. Just past midfield. All right. Wrestle down. 30 seconds left, 2nd and 2. Field goal range. Incomplete pass. 3rd down and 2. 26 seconds left, 3rd and 2. Field goal range. All right, let's see. He's got a first down with McCaffrey. 16 seconds. He wants to spike it. 2nd down. 13 seconds left in the game. Probably take a shot at the end zone here. Second and 10. Here we go. Fires up the middle, nothing there. Third down. Third down. Third down. 3rd down and 10. What's up? Boss, should you trade Pittman for Brian Thomas Jr.? I that's tough. That's tough. I would ask what the rest of your roster makeup is, right? And what I mean by that is right now, and I see for this foreseeable future that Pittman will be at least a wide receiver 2 for the rest of the season, and he's kind of the type of receiver, especially in PPR, where you can almost set him and forget him if need be. And so if you have somebody else who's in that range that you're always debating between Pittman and this guy, right? Like let's say you have like a Sutton or somebody else who could fit into that wide receiver 2 spot, and you don't need Pittman, and you could keep Brian Thomas Jr. on your bench for a while, I would do it, right? But if you're gonna have to rely on Brian Thomas Jr. and like you were playing Pittman, let's say in a wide receiver 2, and you didn't have anybody behind him, and now you have to play Brian Thomas Jr., um, I might not do that. So it kind of depends on the makeup of your team, I would say. Not sure if that helps or not, but um, pretty much if you don't have any depth, I wouldn't do it because unless Brian Thomas pulls off what he did last year again, I know it's going to be hard for him to finish above Pittman. Um, based on the way things have been going these first 4 weeks. All right. So they're going to kick a field goal to end this half. You're welcome. Appreciate you. Good luck Sunday, and I'll hopefully see you on Sunday. Field goal kick. Field goal is good to end the first half. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for dropping all the questions. Thanks for all the feedback. We'll be tuned in Sunday morning before the London game, staying through all the way through the morning game. So there'll be a lot of football to cover on Sunday. Hope everybody has a good rest of the week. Oh, Malik is hurt. One more question right before we go. Malik is hurt, and I need a replacement for wide receiver 2. I'll do the trade week 7 when Rashee Rice comes back. Oh, okay. I see what you're trying to do there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that could work. Wait, it's been 4 weeks, so 5, 6. Yeah. Even if you had to have 1 week gap, you might need that. So we'll see what happens if Brian Thomas's value goes up or not before then. But yeah, if you have Rashee, I didn't know you had that, right? And if I'm thinking in that term, if I have Rashee, I might even just keep Pittman because then Rashee could be your ceiling play versus Brian Thomas Jr. Plus, then you don't have to give up, the solid Pittman, because if you're going for the ceiling, right, of Brian Thomas Jr., like technically Rashee Rice has that same or close to that same ceiling potential, and you're not going to give up anybody if you're going to wait in that sense. BTJ is like, I feel like is a good trade target, like in the right situation. But since you are already you're already waiting for Rashee to get off, right, and you would be waiting for Brian Thomas Jr. to perform well. So even if you wait until that week 7 for Rashee and BTJ, like you're basically going to be looking at them at even playing field from that starting point. So I almost feel like I would keep Pittman in that case and then just hope for the upside for Rashee, and that way you keep those two guys. But if you want Brian Thomas and you're targeting him because you believe in him rest of the season, I'm just kind of out. Like I had Brian Thomas Jr. last year, but I'm just kind of out on him this year just based on what Trevor Lawrence looks like. And it's not like the Colts are bad. They should score points, so that's where I would lean. But the upside of BTJ can't be knocked. So I really appreciate that question. I think it's Blaze. Hopefully that was helpful. Appreciate everybody who asked questions. We'll be here Sunday morning for the London game and the morning game coverages for more start sit, more commentary. So appreciate y'all.